couple tests.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Joel King, 2 Toussaint Drive. I just have a few questions about the ordinances in this city and whether or not, who has to follow them and who doesn't, because some things were brought up to me about Prairie Encore and like the number of parking spots is well below what is required by our ordinances. The position of the place is not by a main highway, which goes against our ordinances. Cora Marie is connected to it, which goes against our ordinances, and I don't know how many others. But if the board doesn't have to abide by them, why do we? I know you're going to look to pass a fireworks ordinance. Why would the residents have to follow it? If the board can just override any ordinance, why do we have any ordinances to begin with? So I would appreciate if somebody would address it. I don't know if it's written down somewhere to where you guys can just ride, and I realize this wasn't the board basically that did this, but is this standard practice where people can just, the board can just override any ordinance that's in here? And the other thing I'd like to know is this.
Cheryl Bratton.
Right, button, turn it on, off, or? There, it-
Nope.
I can hear it.
I can hear it, tap on
It's
it.
on now.
You're good.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Is it, there we go.
No, it's not working.
Cruden Bay Court and Inverness subdivision. On July 11th, Alderwoman Gettemeyer and Alderman important feed road and the use of Inverness subdivision as a cut through in and out of Prairie Encore. When Laura and Ryan share their notes with you, I know Ward 1 residents will appreciate your taking that input seriously. Speaking of Ryan Wilson, every year the St. Louis Regional Business Council of St. Louis recognizes outstanding talent from its 3,500 person membership by naming a select group to its Leadership 100 cohort. Selections are based on a member's demonstrated leadership and service to the community at large. And this year, Ryan will be inducted into RBC's Young, although I question the use of the word young, Professional Network Leadership 100 during a formal event they might be stretching that one, during a formal event at the Ballpark Hilton on August 15th. Reading from their website, the RBC works to attract, retain, and develop a highly skilled, diverse workforce in the St. Louis region by providing valuable opportunities for networking, professional development, and community involvement. As a forum for building lasting connections, RBC's primary goal is to share big ideas in support of the future of the St. Louis region. Members are given the opportunity to attend social, philanthropic, cultural, and professional development events through the year and serve on various committees focusing on an engagement with the group and the St. Louis metro community. Over 700 locally based companies are RBC members and include heavy hitters such as Edward Jones, SSM, and Brinkman Construction. To be recognized as one of the St. Louis Regional Business Council's top 100 leaders is not only a huge honor for Ryan personally, but illustrates the kind of leadership Garden Prairie voters deserve, and judging from both yesterday's and April's election results, what we demand. Congratulations, Ryan, and Mike, to you also.
Arnie Dienoff.
Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate. And I first want to start out, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have to bring it up. Mr. Mayor, how you treat people, citizens, and especially other elected officials is way off the charts. You need to learn about civility. You need to learn about respect, listening to others' opinions, and respectfully disagreeing with others, and not treating people like crap or like they're a second-class citizen. Tiffany Hinyard is America's worst mayor. She is currently under investigation by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, along with the Cook County Prosecuting Attorney. She is the mayor of the village of Dalton, Illinois, and she is known as the worst mayor of America, and I ask you to look her up. She has the same similarities as Tiffany Hinyard. You, Mr. Gotway, are the worst mayor of the state of Missouri, in my opinion. Now I want to talk about a couple issues that are on the agenda tonight. The reappointments of Barrett Haven Community Improvement of Ed Escom, Bill Laskowski, and EJ Sansong. A letter dated 7/18/24 from the law firm of Armstrong Teasdale states that their term expires February 15th, 2024. But in reality, it's a 4-year term, and that term needs to be changed to an expiration of July 15th, 2028. If you look at revised state statute 67.1451 of the state statutes governing CIDs, it says you have to be 18 years of age, an owner within the district, or a registered voter residing within the district, and it can be by appointment of the Board of Aldermen, or election can be held at large within the CID district. Now that district has 10% interest rate. It's beyond understandable that those residents are being ripped off by the entire CID. And I think the state auditor and the attorney general should step in, because they should have refinanced a long time ago when it was 2.1% they could have got for those residents, and a huge savings to them on the repayment of the bonds. But of course, Paul McKee gets away with whatever he wants as a developer. Now, bill number 2435 proposed, aren't you putting the cart before the horse? You're looking at, currently you pay $9,840 annually for software costs. Now you want, the city administrator wants $27,264 plus an annual up to increase of 7%, which would be $1,908 per year. And so put the brakes on here. A lot of questions are unknown, which was evident during the workshop. Was this put out on the street for an equal and fair bid procurement process? I say no. It sounds like you, the city administrator, contacted Kevin Strauss at GoGov asking for citizen requirement management. Can I have 30 seconds, please?
Your time is up, Arnie.
If I can ask the Board of Aldermen for a motion under Robert's Rules of Order for another 30 seconds to finish what I'm trying to say.
Arnie, please. Not.
Robert's Rules of Order says that the Board of Aldermen, by a motion, can extend the time of the speaker.
You understand why? Can't.
No, I don't. Explain
If
it.
anybody does, you do.
Explaining.
3 minutes. Everybody gets 3 minutes.
Put the brakes on this contract. It doesn't make sense, members of the board. And Mr. Mayor, you are the worst mayor of Missouri.
Thank you, Arnie.
That was the last speaker.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to new business. A motion to read Bill 2435 for the first time by title only.
So moved.
A motion by Mark, second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? James, will you read Bill 2435?
Sure. Bill 2435, an ordinance of the City of Garden Prairie, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to negotiate and execute an agreement with GoGov, Inc. for software subscription services.
Move to postpone the second reading until the next meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to postpone second reading to the second meeting, or to the next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Bill 2435 is postponed. Second reading's postponed. Motion, motion to read resolution 24, or 383,
Motion to pass.
to pass, read and pass. Well, really don't have to read it, you guys read it. Motion to pass, resolution 383.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved, Mark, or? Got a second?
Counselor.
Mike? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Resolution 383 is passed.
May I make a quick statement?
Yeah.
For the edification of those in the audience, we didn't read this, but this is the ward meeting policy for the Board of Aldermen.
Old business. I think we're going to postpone Bill 2425, the fireworks ordinance.
Move to postpone Bill 2425 for the following meeting.
Following meeting. Got a motion by Keith.
Second.
Second by Carla. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bill 2425 will be postponed to our second August meeting. This one?
The next one. After they asked for it to be brought up, they just asked today that they don't want to have it brought up again.
Okay,
What were you
Bill-
saying in just a second? Was that the developer one of that? Okay, yeah.
Lynn, yeah.
You know, go ahead and,
Okay, so we got a request from the developer for Bill 2330 to postpone it indefinitely. So it's, I guess they don't want to move forward with it. So I entertain a motion to postpone Bill 2330 indefinitely.
So moved.
Mark, so moved. Second? Second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Bill 2330 is postponed indefinitely. Staff communications. City attorney,
I have nothing, Mayor.
city engineer.
Yes, sir. So work proceeds on the final drawings for Town Square after the preliminary design approval. We are currently also, completing the field survey for Post Road Phase 1. And also, I do have, at the direction of James and the board previously, we prepared a drawing, and I'm going to give this to a hard copy for the Lewis and Clark. I was going to give this to Carla so she could look at it since it's her subdivision of the striping plan out at the entrance there
Oh,
that
thank you.
I believe will be executed by Phil at the direction of James has been working on that.
Do we
So,
have a date, Tom?
well, I don't know when Phil is going to be able to get the work done, but we have a drawing for him to have as a basis to do that striping, and you're certainly, I'm going to hand this to you after the meeting so you can have a
If we can arrange to get it done before school starts, which is, I believe, the 19th.
I'll let James answer that
That's
part of it.
fine. I'm just, it would be helpful.
We're running into the only problem we have at the moment is we tried to get borrow the stencils from another city, and so far we've been coming up short because most people just contract it out to Traymar. So we're already going down the road of putting together an on-call contract for Traymar.
Okay.
But if I can get somebody to give us the stencils, we can get them done tomorrow.
Well, I mean,
So-
I'd rather it be done. I'm not going to say they're not going to do it correctly, but,
Right, we don't want them out there just,
right, measuring
spray
and
painting the measure,
striping,
yeah.
so, but,
So,
yeah.
but we are ready to move forward with that
Okay, thank you.
as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you.
That all you got, Tom?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, city administrator.
Sure. Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so there was a question during the public comments about deviations, what we call deviations from the code during the development process. The city, and we've gone over this, we've had this conversation both internally and publicly about how the city handles a lot of its development requests. And given the structure of our zoning ordinances and some of the requirements in them, many of the people, most of the developers come to the city requesting a PUD, a planned unit development, which allows the city through that process to make demands otherwise not necessarily able to be made of a developer in return for granting certain deviations from the code. So if you took our code and compared it to O'Fallon's, we require more parking, we may require less density, either for certain types of development, whether it be multifamily, R1A, et cetera. Going from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, all of those things, setbacks, density requirements, all of that stuff varies. Ours are very, very constraining to development. We have very specific rules, which oftentimes, in fact, every development that I've known, pretty much every development I've known in the last, since I've been here 3 years, and I haven't seen many before that, have all gone through the PUD process, whether it's the Prairie Encore or Inverness, none of which those houses meet the code specifically. Those lots are granted deviations, the setbacks are granted deviations. All of that development, and pretty much every subdivision that I could see on that map, developed in the last decade or more, is granted deviations from the code in return for other concessions from the developer, whether it be the types of materials used in the development, the style of the housing, you name it. I mean, siding, green space, other amenities, you name it. Planning and zoning and the board can get those concessions. Otherwise, would not necessarily be required in a straight zoning situation. So if somebody took a 50-acre piece of land and it was zoned R1D, they could just build anything they wanted on that within the code, as long as it meets setbacks and density requirements. If they want to build a square house with vinyl siding or cement block houses that are 500 square feet, if it's not in the code otherwise that they can't build it, which we don't have architectural standards in our code, they can build it. We go through this process because we utilize that negotiation process with the developer to get a mutually agreeable product, a certain standard of the housing, of the materials used in the housing, amenities for the development, whether it be the Prairie Encore or Inverness. Those are negotiations that happen really starting with the staff, continues with planning and zoning, and then eventually to the board as far as what code deviations are allowed. Any project, any plan on the front page of those submissions to the city and to the planning and zoning list all of the requirements from the code and where the plans deviate. And there's hundreds of deviations. Every lot deviates in Inverness, either with setback requirements or any number of things. So that's how that process unfolds. It's not a matter of selective enforcement of code, or that some people are not subject to the code. It is a give and take negotiation process with the city and developers.
The developers are protecting residents.
Well, no, I mean, residents are protected by the city negotiating standards which are not in the code. I mean, they could build just cinder block houses in Inverness, but we wouldn't allow that. So this is not a public discussion. This is an opportunity for the city to answer the question that was posed during public comments. So that was the explanation. I wanted to make sure that it was understood. The only other item that I have is, I appreciate Alderman Costello bringing attention to the draft engagement we have for the streets. We'll have a very detailed conversation about this during the budget process. But just to give you an idea, a flavor of what we're looking for with our slab replacements, and this year, the city engineer and I and public works superintendent are looking to make a significant investment in our asphalt streets. We've done $12 million or whatever on concrete streets. Stony Brook, Longview Estates, and Le Petit Chateau all are in serious need of work. Stony Brook especially, unfortunately, there's a serious culvert failure issue that has been pending for the last couple years. It's not been a danger to anybody yet. It's not created a structural issue for the street going over it, but it is something that needs to be addressed before it becomes that. So this is what we're looking at. I'd encourage you to look at that. It is going to be keeping up with what we think is, at least at the moment, where we need to be to keep from falling behind on our maintenance. But I think we'll have a much deeper conversation here during the budget process about how we'll budget for this in the future, especially because we won't be going through St. Charles County anyway. So we won't be having that conversation in August. We'll be having it later in the year as part of the budget. So, and with that, I'll answer any questions if there are any. I did want to make sure I brought attention to one thing. Next Tuesday, August 13th, here in this board chambers at 6 o'clock, I'll be, I've invited the residents to come here. I've got a small presentation that was, every year I do, either myself or the mayor does a state of the city address to the Western St. Charles Chamber. I've updated that and added some other information that I thought might be interesting to the residents. I'll give a quick presentation, kind of gives an update on what's been going on in the city and where we're kind of planning on going, and then there'll be an open question and answer forum for the residents. So everyone's welcome to attend. It is not a stated meeting or a posted meeting, but obviously to attend and watch, everyone's welcome, including, of course, Aldermen. And that's it.
Okay, Alderman?
I have something. I want to call for a closed session, roll call vote to hold closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.021 subsections 1 and 3 for Board of Aldermen and City Attorney only.
Second.
Can't exclude the mayor. Is that what you're asking?
I am asking for the Board of Aldermen and City Attorney only.
Can't exclude the
Okay,
mayor.
then that's fine.
Okay. Got a motion to hold a closed session?
He's already seconded it down there.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Hear none, we're going to adjourn for a closed session.
Hey, John.
Yes, you do need to do a roll call.
Yeah.
You need a roll call.
Alderman Coslow.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Detweiler.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Woodman.
Aye.
Alderman Gittmeyer.
Aye.
Tom, turn off the recording. Just, stop the recording, but don't stop the meeting. Don't stop the meeting, just the recording, please.
Okay.